watching the Ask at Dead and Hip Hop segment of the show. Hey.
Hey.
I'm calling in from Skype from the District of Columbia. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good. We're doing fine.
Our first question comes from Assad Ahmad, and he wants to know, why do you think that hip-hop hasn't had much of an influence from the UK in America? Should the US be seeking talent just like Jay-Z has done? And I think he's referring to Rita Ora.
I don't think it's big in the US because, in the US we probably can't relate to some of the stuff they're talking about. They're talking about what's happening in the UK. Obviously that's, doesn't necessarily translate to US. But if you're a dope MC and you have content that's universal, then it is what it is. But I just don't know if there's people, UK artists out there like that. I don't know that many of them. So but I'm pretty sure if you was dope, that you'd probably be discovered already and you'd be doing your hip hop in America.
So you don't have a problem with the accent and stuff?
I do. It's kind of hard to get into and listen to, but that's just because I'm American and I live in America. So, that's just something that's, not easy to get over, at least personally for me.
I think it just has to do more with the fact that we're domesticated here in the U.S. And it's easier to, even though in this day and age where we have, advances in technology. I mean, we all know how foreign exchange hooked up with Fonte and of course Nicolay, but I think it's just easier to work with people locally, or maybe they just feel a little bit more comfortable, or maybe they just don't have access to know who is dope over there. And maybe, like Modest Media said, it may have something to do with access as well. But there's definitely a growing hip hop culture over there, and it's really becoming popular. I think it just hasn't migrated over to the U.S. And I think that will be extremely difficult for that to happen, because especially if they need to get airplay, So, and those are the type of things that they'll need in order to reach their market.
Well, we get producers from different countries, though. Like Payozo, he's from Sweden.
Yeah, but their beats don't sound Swedish.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So that's more what it's about then, because how they sound.
Yeah, I was thinking of just rap.
But he wasn't saying that. He was saying that because it's not local. They're not local and they're not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's a difficult question. But I think even from the way that even the beat sound, I still think that I think it still will have a hip hop sound to it. Like Tiny Tempo, whatever his name is, he's made it over here. But I think he has some people behind him that are able to take him and market him to the U.S. market.
Like Mike said, like Payozo, his beats don't sound Swedish. You know what I'm saying? It sounds hip hop. And the actual sound, the music sound of hip hop, I think can be created anywhere. You're saying with almost any type of instrumentation.
I like a few UK artists. I don't know what's going on lately, but there seems to be a lot of UK people that keep asking the same question. Like, I get it on Twitter, I get it sent to my email personally. Who do you like this in the UK? I'll be honest. The accent is very, 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 very distracting. There's only a certain number of people that I can really listen to that I really dig. Who are from the UK. Dizzy Rascal, his first 3 albums I think were great. Low Key, obviously. Rhyme Asylum I like. But it's when the accents are too deep. Like when the Streets came out, I wasn't feeling them at all. I just couldn't get behind the accent, and the slang is different, so it's hard to really understand what they're talking about. With hip hop being that it's such a language-based art, I feel like I can't listen to hip hop if I can't really get behind the language. It's way too distracting. With Tiny Tempo, it's a little bit different because he's not solely a hip hop artist. Like, he's more trying to reach that more pop lane.
I think it was Lupe on that one.
I don't think it was anyone on. I think it was just him. But either way, because I got his album based off of that single, and the rest of the album, it was okay. It was not bad. But with singers, I can tolerate being from another area. Matter of fact, 9 times out of 10, I prefer them being from another area because I don't know. It just
Sounds
you know, yeah, I mean, like one of my favorite singers is Bjork, and you know, she's clearly not here. She's from Iceland, and you know, I love Adele. Adele's not from here, but yeah, should they be seeking UK hip hop artists? I mean, for what really? We have enough here to make them money. Why, you know, go over there and try to bring them here? Unless they're gonna sign them there and market them there. That's why there are different factions of these major labels in other areas. There's a Warner Brothers Europe. I'm sure there's a Warner Brothers Japan. You know, there's no reason to try to bring a Japanese artist to the United States because they're doing just fine in Japan.
I don't see, you know, an influx of UK hip hop artists coming over here at all. I don't see that happening. I just think that the culture difference in just America versus UK is too different. And even though they're hip hop and we're all hip hop culture, what you're talking about and what I'm talking about is still two different things. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, what you're influenced by is not the same thing I'm influenced by here in America. It's just a different culture. I'm not going to be able to relate to some of the things that you may be rapping about.
That's right. Listening to a few of the UK artists, you know, like Dizzy Rascal, you know, and seeing movies, you know, it seems like their ghettos are actually, seem like some of them are kind of worse than ours. You know, their projects are fucked. So when they're talking about, you know, low income housing and, you know, being poor, all that stuff, that stuff we can relate to. It's I don't think their culture is that much different. Their government might be different. The reasons the people are poor might be slightly different, as in, you know, how the people get to the place that they're at or how they get out of the places that they're at. But I don't think it's the culture being different that's making the music inaccessible to Americans. I really think that a lot of it has to do with the accents. I think that is just a kind of, you know, for lack of a better term, I think it's just kind of a turn-off for a lot of Americans because, you know, the accents are so thick. And like I said, this is hip-hop. We need to hear you. You know, we kind of need to understand you. So it just makes it a little difficult for us to get behind the music. The music itself is not that different. The beats are the same for the most part. Some of that grime stuff obviously is a little sectioned off, but for the most part, the rappers that are trying to be big, you know, listen to Low Key. His production is no different than anybody else's. He just has a thick ass accent.